The ocean has always been a battleground, where ships and sailors have fought for control of the seas. Over the centuries, there have been many battleships that have left their mark on history. Today, we'll be taking a look at the top 5 battleships of all time. First up, we have the HMS Dreadnought. She was a revolutionary vessel that changed the course of naval warfare forever. Dreadnought was commissioned in 1906 and was the first battleship of her kind, with an all-big gun armament and a steam turbine propulsion system. She was the most powerful ship in the world at the time, and her sleek design and cutting-edge technology made her a force to be reckoned with. The Dreadnought quickly became the envy of the world's navies, and her arrival marked the beginning of a new era of naval power. She was used extensively during World War I and was a key player in several major battles. Despite her impressive capabilities, the Dreadnought's career was relatively short-lived. By the 1920s, new technologies had emerged that made her obsolete, and she was eventually decommissioned in 1921. But even though she had only served for a brief period, the Dreadnought had left an indelible mark on naval history. Her legacy was felt for decades to come, and she served as a symbol of the power and innovation that had propelled Britain to the forefront of the world stage. Today, the HMS Dreadnought is remembered as a true icon of naval engineering and a testament to the ingenuity and determination of those who built and operated her. Next on our list is the majestic warship named USS Iowa. She was a battleship that served in the United States Navy during World War II, and her legendary career spanned over 5 decades. Commissioned in 1943, the Iowa was one of the largest and most powerful battleships ever built. She was armed with 9 16-inch guns and had a top speed of over 30 knots. She was also the flagship of Admiral William Halsey, one of the most celebrated naval commanders of the war. During the war, the Iowa saw action in some of the most significant battles of the Pacific theater. She played a critical role in the Battle of Leyte Gulf, where her guns helped to destroy several enemy warships. She also provided cover for Allied forces during the invasion of Okinawa. After the war, the Iowa was decommissioned and placed in reserve. However, she was recommissioned in 1984 as part of the Reagan administration's efforts to modernize the Navy. She served in the Persian Gulf War and was even used as a platform for diplomatic meetings between world leaders. Eventually, the Iowa was decommissioned for the final time in 1990. She was then transformed into a museum ship, where visitors could see firsthand the power and majesty of this legendary vessel. Today, the USS Iowa is remembered as a symbol of American naval strength and the bravery of the sailors who served on her. Her legacy will live on as a testament to the remarkable achievements of the U.S. Navy during World War II and beyond. Coming in at number 3 is the fearsome battleship named the Bismarck. She was the flagship of the German Navy during World War II and was considered one of the most powerful warships of her time. Commissioned in 1940, the Bismarck was armed with 8 15-inch guns and had a top speed of over 30 knots. She was also heavily armored, making her an almost invulnerable adversary on the seas. In May of 1941, the Bismarck set sail on her maiden voyage, accompanied by the heavy cruiser Prince Eugene. Their mission was to disrupt Allied shipping in the North Atlantic. However, the British were not going to let the Bismarck have her way. They quickly deployed several ships to intercept her, including the battleships HMS Hood and HMS Prince of Wales. The ensuing battle was one of the most dramatic naval engagements of the war. The Bismarck's guns proved to be more accurate than the British had anticipated, and she quickly disabled the Hood with a devastating blow. But the Bismarck's triumph was short-lived. The British were able to damage her rudder, rendering her unable to steer properly. This allowed the Royal Navy to catch up with her, and they bombarded her with torpedoes until she eventually sank. The sinking of the Bismarck was a significant turning point in the war, and it demonstrated the power and determination of the Allied forces. Today, the Bismarck is remembered as one of the most formidable battleships in history, and her legacy lives on as a testament to the incredible achievements of the German Navy during World War II. Our 4th battleship is the mighty battleship named the Yamato. She was the flagship of the Japanese Navy during World War II and was considered one of the largest and most powerful warships ever built. Commissioned in 1941, the Yamato was armed with 9 18.1-inch guns and had a top speed of over 27 knots. She was also heavily armored, making her an almost invincible opponent on the seas. The Yamato saw action in some of the most significant battles of the Pacific theater, including the Battle of Leyte Gulf. However, despite her impressive firepower and size, the Yamato was ultimately unable to turn the tide of the war in Japan's favor. In 1945, as the war was drawing to a close, the Yamato was ordered on a suicide mission. Her crew was to ram her into Allied ships, causing as much damage as possible before going down. The Yamato set sail, but her mission was ultimately unsuccessful. Allied planes and submarines attacked her relentlessly, and she eventually sank, taking most of her crew with her. The sinking of the Yamato was a tragic end to the story of one of the most remarkable battleships in history. Today, she is remembered as a symbol of the incredible technological advancements and sacrifices made during World War II. Her legacy serves as a reminder of the horrors of war and the need for peace and understanding between nations. Finally, coming in at number 5. We have the HMS Hood. She was the flagship of the Royal Navy during the interwar period and was considered one of the most powerful warships of her time. Commissioned in 1920, the Hood was armed with 8 15-inch guns and had a top speed of over 30 knots. She was also heavily armored, making her an almost invulnerable opponent on the seas. During World War II, the Hood was assigned to protect Allied shipping in the North Atlantic. However, in May of 1941, she received orders to intercept the German battleship Bismarck, which was on a mission to disrupt Allied shipping. The Hood and the battleship Prince of Wales quickly found the Bismarck and engaged her in battle. The Hood's guns proved to be less accurate than the Bismarck's, and she was struck by a devastating blow that caused her to explode. The loss of the Hood was a significant blow to the Royal Navy, and it demonstrated the power and determination of the Axis forces. Today, the Hood is remembered as one of the most tragic losses in British naval history, and her legacy lives on as a testament to the bravery and sacrifice of those who served on her.